Welcome to the Fourth Curtain, everyone. My name is Alexander Seropian. My name's Alex Seropian. I don't know
He
why I
said
wrote down
Alexander.
Seropian. Yeah. And
Alexander
together,
Seropian. What's your middle name? Isn't it like
I don't have a
Michael?
middle name.
You don't have a
I don't have a middle name.
Alexander
No, my brothers
Mikhail.
have. Yeah, no. My brother, if I could pick my middle name, I'd pick Harach, which was my dad's name. My dad's
Harach.
Armenian name.
Hey.
It's a really nice name. My brothers both have two middle names. Me, I didn't get any. My mother said my name was long enough. They didn't want to give me a middle name.
Interesting. All right. I'm going to start calling you Alexander Mikhail. Harach. Seropian.
Okay, Harach. That's good.
Seropian.
Well, and this is Aaron. And
Just
together
Aaron.
we are
Aaron.
Aaron Marroquin.
Marroquin.
I want to call you Marroquin. Is that how you would pronounce it?
Marroquin. You have to roll the R's.
Marroquin. Okay.
And I have a
if
middle
you're
name.
new,
Eduardo.
oh, that's very
Yeah,
nice.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to show off or anything. We can give you a middle name.
I guess that is possible.
It's possible.
If you're new to the show, this is a podcast about the people behind your favorite video games. We like to talk to the visionaries and makers who've built this amazing and wacky industry.
Yeah, and we have a few in season 1. So if you're new, season 1 has some foundational characters.
We did 36 episodes in our first season. They're all amazing. And yeah, thanks for joining us. We'll take a little trip together in our second season, going even further behind the curtain
Behind
of video games.
the curtain of the curtain.
Yeah. Season 2 is gonna
It's like multiple
this is, I
masks.
guess this is episode 0 of season 2, but
Yeah,
episode
0,
1,
0. Prelude.
yeah, we'll be out in a couple weeks, February 1st, with John Romero, the creator of Doom
Yeah.
and Castle Wolfenstein and id Software and so many. I was playing Doom 2016 over break on my Steam Deck. I thought I got to the end, and I was not at the end. I had
don't
one of those.
spoil it.
I like when
Yeah. Stop, because I'm gonna try. I haven't tried it yet.
fine. Okay. I love that Steam Deck. Hey, that reminds me.
We're giving one away. What a segue.
Yeah. I know, not one of the old ones like I got, but one of the
No,
new
OLEDs.
OLEDs. Big shout out to our friends at Shifty Eye Games, helping us make that possible. And if you want to win a Steam Deck, just head on over to our Discord. There's a codes channel in there you can post in, or just back our Kickstarter. Hey, another segue. If you're listening to this, yeah, the Kickstarter is live, so you can just go
It's
to
live
our
right now. This
website.
is up. Yeah.
Yep. thefourthcurtain.com.
Or just go to Twitter, Fourth Curtain. It's on there. You can get links to it. You can find it.
So head on over to the Kickstarter, help us get season 2 paid for.
Yeah, you got a lot of people helping us this season. They got to get paid.
And thank you for that. So yeah, we'll be giving away a Steam Deck in that first episode.
We pay all our guests. I'm just kidding.
No, we don't.
No,
What are you talking about?
I'm trying to ruin everything, Alex.
Okay.
Alex is like, I could probably edit this out in post. No. It's all Alex. You people don't know. I make Alex squirm so it's the best. Yeah, I'm watching him. I'm so glad we have a camera. All right, let's do what we're gonna do. Just try to keep us on track. Come on, let's do it. I haven't read this list, by the way. I haven't read this list. Okay, what are the three things?
We're gonna do 3 things. Aaron's referring to a list of what I called it, my wall of wisdom. I keep notes. Those of you who know me, I'm always carrying around this notebook, and I write down business ideas, game ideas. Sometimes I just write down things that I learned. So I've got a list of those that Aaron's gonna pick a few to share. We have some questions from some of our listeners that we'll answer. Then maybe we'll make a few predictions.
Do you want to intersperse the predictions? How do you want to do this?
Sure. I mean, I can kick off with a prediction because I thought about
Go for
this.
it. All right, what's the first prediction? I love the predictions.
My first prediction: either Electronic Arts or Take-Two will be acquired this year. That's my first prediction.
Hey,
a
business
big
prediction.
mega acquisition. Someone on the order of like a Netflix or an Amazon or probably not Google, Tencent. I don't know. Maybe they're gonna buy each other. I think they tried. I think they've tried.
Okay, who are the 2 companies again?
Electronic Arts and Take-Two.
Okay, Electronic Arts Take 2. I have a prediction. One of those companies will make a Civil War in America game
What?
theme.
Wait,
That's my prediction.
one of those 2?
One of those 2. I'm gonna say it's Take
Take-Two or
2.
EA?
Yeah. You know, like a Far Cry, Civil War, and it'll be like, like, you
Oh,
know,
but you don't mean like from
like
the
a United
1800s. You
States.
mean like a
No,
future
like a future
like a future
USA, because
Civil War.
that's yeah, they're making like
Okay.
7 movies about that right now, and
Yeah, I see.
it's in
Okay. Oh,
the
that's
air
sort
and
of
everyone
post-apocalyptic a little
elliptic,
bit.
yeah, like,
Yeah, okay.
Yankees versus,
They'll
you
announce
know
one
yeah,
this year. Won't
I
come
think
out this
so.
year.
Oh, okay. Oh, or maybe they're already working on it. Okay, yep, can I make okay, so to that prediction, who do you think's gonna buy them before you go off? You said
I
Google
said
or
already, like a Netflix or an
Goo
Amazon or
okay,
somebody with
okay, okay. Alright,
really
alright.
deep pockets.
Deep
Because
pockets,
I
alright.
mean, Take-Two, I think they wouldn't be cheap because GTA 6 is gonna be huge. Everybody knows it.
Do companies merge? Do they ever do merger things?
Yeah.
No, right? Yeah, but
But
like a
yeah, no, they do. It's called their department is M&A. It's mergers and acquisitions.
mm, okay.
Yeah, but a merger is really an acquisition.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah,
a
it's not
polite
real.
way to say somebody bought somebody.
It's like an
Yeah.
arranged marriage, but they're like pretending they're in love. Yeah, I hear it. Okay. All right, cool. That's a cool prediction. I think my prediction's pretty legit too. I'm sorry. You
I don't think that
you
one's
don't think
gonna
it's
come
gonna
true.
happen? Okay, maybe not.
Maybe we should put some money on it.
Slap bet? All
Too
right.
old for
All
a
right, so what's
slap
the next
bet.
agenda so I can get out of this one?
All right. How about this? Let's go to the wall of wisdom.
Well, listen, I have it up right now. So I have a
Okay. Do you
20-sided
like?
die.
Okay.
Yes. Let me get it. Give
Go
me one
ahead and
second.
roll.
It's right here.
Go ahead and roll to your die.
No, I'm not going. It's on my other desk. It's on my other computer. It's on my computer that I work at. You're looking at me in a
What
kind of a
is
semi-judgmental face, and that's okay. That's
semi?
okay.
This is
I've seen more.
full on judgy.
All
This is
right,
full
so this
on
die I
judgy.
got at Gen Con. It's very special. Uh,
Oh.
it was at the gift shop. They're like, if you spend $40 trillion, you like there's like tiers, you know? They'll give you
Mhm.
like a kind of a cheap, they made 40 million of these die. It's the actual convention, it's the one, and then this is like a special one. So I'm gonna use this special one to roll. Okay.
Okay.
So I care.
So there's 20
It's-
there are 20 things on the list I sent you, and you got a 20-sided die. That's
All
very
right.
convenient.
Exactly. All right, here we go. 17.
17.
17. Learn to find a way. There will be failures. Every company I've had has come within a hair's width of imploding. Persistent is sometimes problem solving.
I like how you fixed my typo when you read it.
I don't read that slow. I was auto-correcting in my brain. Nah?
That was very good. That was very good.
All right, so no, that's good. That's actually something we've talked about before.
Yeah.
Learn to find a way. There will be failures. Every company I've had has come within a hair's width of imploding. Persisting is sometimes problem solving.
Yeah,
Yes.
doing anything hard doing anything interesting is often hard, usually not easy. And sometimes you just need to figure out how to get to the next step, you know? You need to
And yet
figure
you
out
don't
how to
know it, right?
survive and be persistent. Yeah. And not give up. That's what you were saying, a lot of people that don't make it, they don't make it because they gave up.
Yeah, it's really easy to give up.
Yeah.
And there's a
I took
lot
a
of
call over break, like a week before break, from a good friend of mine who's got a company, and he was telling me about he was in a situation where somebody was supposed to pay a bill. He's like he had billed somebody, they were supposed to pay the bill. They hadn't paid the bill, and he was worried they were going to go on Christmas vacation without paying the bill. And if they didn't pay it before the end of the month, he was having to scramble to figure out like how to make payroll and all this. And he was really stressed out about it. Uh, spoiler, it all worked out fine. But we were just brainstorming like how to like what's plan B, like et cetera, et cetera. But that kind of thing happens all the time.
It's like
It's
it's
like
the name
nothing's
of the
easy.
game.
Nothing is easy. Yeah, nothing's easy.
And it extends into every aspect of life. It is the core rule of life and to find contentment.
What, being persistent?
Well, whenever trials arise, to
Oh,
not
right.
be afraid of them, but to be like, for example, like, and we've talked about this before, how we make video games, which is a series of apocalyptic challenges. Like we make these games where like people are like in this like horrible situation, and they're having fun. It's like imagine if you it's kind of like a mockery, like to like real life. Like, what if you were like on your last life and you're up against something and instead of like crying and crumbling, you're like, all right, let's do this. All right, what do I do? You know what I mean? I'm being serious. Like, what if that was your
Yeah.
attitude? Like how far you could go, being happy in those trials, finding contentment there. Deep stuff,
Um,
dude. We got to crack some
yeah.
jokes now. All right. So what was
But
the let's we're doing three. Well, okay, so what were the one, two, threes again? It was predictions, the one, two, three thing. This thing
yeah,
here, the
yeah.
the the
And
deep
then
stuff.
and then some Q&A.
Oh, let's do a Q&A. Let's do a Q&A next.
Okay, let's see. Here is a question. How about this? This is a good this question is for both you and I. Comes from Atlex on our Discord server. What was your favorite game that Wideload made?
So I think there's two answers there.
Cyclone. Yeah. Cyclone, which got turned the name changed to Cyclamite. It was a rotational puzzle game. It was designed for an iPod with the click wheel. We worked with Apple on it until they basically decided they didn't want to do it, and so we made it for the PC and released it with. We released it with Garage Games when they tried to do their platform. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do remember that. All that
Yeah,
stuff. I remember playing it too.
I love that game.
It was like a new Tetris, like a
Well, I love
puzzle.
my Tetris, so it was.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Did you
it
see that
tickled that
13-year-old
itch.
kid that beat
Yeah,
it? Isn't that cool? That
and
made my week. When I saw that, I was like, "Yeah,
yeah.
kid,
I mean,
way
I
to
was trying to
go."
figure. Was that an intent? Was that like
I don't know what
it?
he
It,
did it
it
on. I
wasn't
think
like a
it's a Nintendo.
windscreen, right?
Yeah.
He crashed it,
The
right?
game the game yeah, the game can't
Like
compute
it
the score
overflowed
anymore.
or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he actually beat it. Like he dominated it. Way to go. All right. Well, so what's your answer?
So, there's one that when I was there was my favorite, and then there's one that became my favorite, like, after. Like, going back I'm like, "Man, that was a good game." Like, so when I was there, my favorite one was Stubbs, you know?
Hmm.
And then after I left and time went on, and recently, like, I went back and looked at a lot of the footage and stuff, it's Hail to the Chimp.
Really?
Like, that game I thought was really good, yeah. Like, it was fun for what it was. Um, I feel like that game it's a big game.
Yeah.
Like, it's
Yeah.
huge. I know.
We put there's so
The
much content in
news?
that game. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. We had that whole like news CNN parody with all those animations in there.
Yeah, it
You
was
know who I was
huge.
chatting with last week was Mike Wilson, who was a
Oh,
publisher for Hail to the Chimp.
yeah, Gamecock, yeah.
Yeah, before he went and started Devolver. Yeah, a little blast from the past.
Yeah, it looks really good, by the way. Like, I found some YouTube videos of gameplay, and then I was like, "I don't remember it looking this good."
Yeah, it was
Man,
fun. I remember we got review bombed by Game Informer when it came out.
what does that mean? Is a negative score? I don't remember what the
Yeah,
reviews. Yeah.
there's I think that maybe I'm using the term incorrectly, but whatever. They didn't give it a
No,
good
you
review.
are. Yeah, I really I think that game is just going back and looking at the depth of the game and, like, if you actually play the game, like, if you sit down with a group of friends and you play together, it's hilarious. Like, it's
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
Like, if you play it under those circumstances, it's really good. Yeah. But yeah, but
All
Stubbs is
right.
great too, right? So Chips too.
Yeah. I love Stubbs. It had the best soundtrack. The soundtrack still holds up. Death Cab
It's
for
on
Cuties
Switch.
on
It's
that
on Switch now.
yeah, is on that soundtrack.
Who? Death Cab for
Death Cab
Cutie.
for Cutie. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's some
Dude, it's on Switch now. Did you know that?
I know that. Yeah,
I
that's
didn't
how
know.
I got the collector's edition right up there, from the Switch version.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah. All right. What do you want a prediction or you want to roll the dice again?
Prediction. Prediction.
You have a prediction?
Do I have a prediction? Yes. I think we're gonna see, and we for those of you that don't know, we kind of already talked about this in another thing, but this is official. My prediction here is this is the one that I'm the most excited about, is that I think we're gonna see the maturity of video game subscription services to some degree this year, or an announcement or something. And I think we said Xbox Game Pass with the acquisition merger of is it a merger or is it an acquisition
That was an acquisition. They
of
bought
Activision? Yeah.
Activision. Yeah.
Which is Activision so many games and they have Blizzard and all that stuff, right? So I think that's going to put Game Pass in a position that EA's already on there, which is crazy. Like, can you imagine like having Battlefield and Call of Duty like right next to each other? Um, or
Yeah.
maybe EA leaves, and they go to another one, Netflix. So something like that's going to happen this year, is what I think.
You didn't quite say this, but do you think there will be a subscription war, like there were the console
Yeah,
wars,
yeah, yeah,
that
yeah, yeah. I think that's
we're
going to
gonna
happen.
have like Game Pass kind of going up against, or Netflix trying to go up against Game Pass kind of thing.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like that you see that happening with like anything that just starts to mature. That's where you start to see one become the one, and then you start to see competition, and then that creates a healthy like
Ecosystem. Yes,
ecosystem.
that's right. Netflix was so far ahead of everybody else with movies because they were started with the DVDs and then they with streaming, and now everybody's got a streaming service.
And it's
Um,
healthy. There's a good options out there.
is I mean, it's healthy from the perspective, well, from the perspective of good quality content and lots of it. Yes, there's so much good stuff, but
There's
like
too much. Yeah,
I
yeah.
I was looking at this is something I did over break is I went through and looked at all my credit card statements for the year, and I'm looking at like how many subscription things, and I'm like, what? This is
You're
bonkers.
canceling. Yeah. I'm gonna
I didn't
cancel. I
cancel them.
almost canceled Game Pass because I'm
Well, you
buying
look at it,
games.
I'm like, "Oh, should I cancel this?" And it's like, it's $5 a month, and I'm like, "Oh,
It adds up though.
that's not gonna put food on the table. I'll keep the Paramount Plus. I like Star Trek. Come
You
on."
have you have Paramount Plus?
I do.
Halo's on there. Ah, look at
It
you.
is.
That's why he has it, folks. I'm just
All
kidding.
right, that
All right.
prediction right there, I'm with you. I think I would go on to say that I think we might see a new entrant.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be
Or an
surprised
announcement of one, like a big
yeah,
one.
if like if Steam starts to offer a subscription service, or maybe even Epic, tries to compete with Game Pass or something like that. So I'm with you on that prediction. All right, roll the dice. We'll go back to the wall of wisdom for a hot minute. The die. Sorry, it's not a dice. It's a die.
14.
14.
14, which is keep a notebook or notes or make lists. I agree.
I am a chronic list maker. Do you make lists?
Yes. I literally have one right over there.
This is a
list, and I
conversation.
prioritize a list.
Oh.
And I also have a system. So I make a list, and if it's crazy, I prioritize.
Uh-huh.
And then with like little P1s, P2s next to them.
Ooh.
And then I have like my own coding system. So like when one is done fully, I star it, but it doesn't get fully crossed out until it's 100% approved by other people. And if it's
Who
not
has to
approved,
approve the stuff on your list? Are you talking about like for work
for
or for
everything,
life? For like,
for everything.
who's got to approve stuff on your list?
If it's
You
like
go.
complete, like get the bread. It's like, okay,
So you actually
I'm not
verify
gonna
that you got the bread. Like Hetty's got to say, you
yeah,
got the
but if
bread. You
it's
can
if the
check that off.
bread is sitting on the counter and it's not in the cupboard, you can't
Ah,
mark that off because you
okay.
technically didn't get the bread. The bread has to be fully archived.
I
Yeah.
do. I don't know if you do this, but sometimes when I'm making a list, I'll put something on the list that I've already done so I could check it off right away. Is that
Oh, you like the
illegal?
dopamine.
Is that like an
It's
illegal use of
dopamine.
list?
That's dopamine, dude.
I
Yeah.
I do like making a list,
Yeah.
Like
I
I
think it's good
yeah,
because
I
you probably
do.
look over the list again and it
I'll tell you why I think it's important. It's important for the obvious reasons.
like writing something you already did down.
Well, just making a list in general.
Okay, in general. Okay.
Um, for the obvious reasons of being organized and not forgetting stuff, but I think it's really important for stress management
Yeah.
because sometimes I will sit around thinking about the stuff I need to do, and I'll start getting stressed out that I'm going to forget it. And more so, even more so now that I'm like an old person and I forget things. Everybody forget things. That's what people tell me. At least I think they told me that. I may have forgotten. But in any
I
case,
don't I don't think you forget things.
when I write it down, I get a huge sense of relief that I didn't forget. Have no longer forgotten this thing because I've written it down on a list.
You know, actually, now that I say this out loud, I think the reason you don't forget things is because you're writing them down on a list.
You're saying I don't have a great memory. I'm just organized.
No, I'm saying that outside looking at you as a spectator at Alex, to me, it looks like you remember everything, but you're just keeping lists,
Yeah.
and it looks like you know what I mean. And I think that's and maybe you are half and half, like remembering half because you when I make a list and I look at it, I remember the moment I wrote it down, the context. I'll even write like little notes,
Yeah.
you know? So you look like you remember everything, but you kind of are maybe remembering half of it, but you're relying on your list. So
Oh, yeah, I
you have
wouldn't
confident
remember
information.
yeah, half of the shit if
Does
I
that make
didn't
sense that what
write
I'm
it down.
saying?
Yeah, that
Yeah.
makes sense.
You're making a face like you're being insulted. It's a compliment, dude. It's like you got
Uh,
that defensive face.
I
All right.
usually am being insulted, so
That's
that's my resting bitch face or whatever. Am I allowed
oh,
to say that?
Alex, I don't know.
RBF?
RBF, yeah. It's a trope now. Or is it okay? It's like in popular culture, yeah. I
I
think
think
you're
so.
okay.
All right, I have another question from Baudrillard boy. I'm sure I didn't pronounce that right. Also on our Discord. What's the most rewarding aspect of your career in gaming? And also, what is the most frustrating parts?
Do you wanna go first?
Sure. I'm going to be honest. There's two things that I enjoy a lot in the craft of game making. I'll say the general category is problem solving, specifically like writing code. I find to be very enjoyable. Figuring out how to achieve some sort of goal that seems unachievable in a general sense, and that can happen not just with code, but like on the business side too, hiring, recruiting, all of those things. They all have an element of problem solving. I love building. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's one thing. The second thing is it's a business and it is a very hit or miss business, and you don't always hit, but when you do, that is super satisfying to see a lot of hard work, a lot of teamwork, um, a lot of going through those problem solvings and doubt, etc., turn into something that people like and it can be successful. So there's this big kind of like um, dopamine rush, I guess, from when all those things come together and you have something that's successful. So I think those are different things, but like so the problem solving aspect, and then the when you get something that people like and is you find success with it, it's just very rewarding because it doesn't come all the time, and
Oh, yeah, it doesn't.
makes
In
it
our
worth it
industry
makes it worth
especially.
it. Yeah,
Yeah, I think that last one you said is when you make a good game, that's very hard that people care about.
yeah,
So the first rewarding aspect for me, I really enjoy working with a team. So it's rewarding to me whenever you get a team that clicks and you kind of you respect each other and you're working together and it's kind of it just works like a well-oiled machine. That to me is incredibly rewarding, when you trust each other and you're like, you know what I'm saying? And like people aren't because I've worked on very toxic teams in the past, and I'm sure you've managed that, that situation, or you
Yeah.
have friends that have teams where there's like it just takes one moment at a happy hour or one moment on a Monday morning meeting, and it just creates this seed of like toxic waste that just permeates. It you know what I'm saying? So I like it whenever I find it rewarding when you get into a situation where that's not happening and that the machine is like the team is working and you're just cruising and it feels very satisfying. Um that's the first one. The second one is seeing your product on the shelf in any capacity, whether it's at Best Buy or something is the best. Toys R Us was always the big one for me. Like Toys R Us, because you know what I mean? Like you
For
seeing it
you kids
there.
out there, Toys R Us was a very popular toy store back in the day.
Yeah, or like seen it in one of those shops, GameStop. Like I remember walking into a GameStop and just seeing one of my games on the shelf behind the person work. It was really cool.
The most frustrating for me, one is like just dealing with things that are out of immediate control, so I've had to fire people before, and that sucks. I don't know if that counts as frustrating. Yeah, I think that's frustrating. It's
Yeah,
like,
it's working with a team.
so,
Yeah.
yeah, sometimes things don't work out. Sometimes people are can be a different kind of problem to solve. That doesn't sound good, but you know what I mean? Like if you have
Yeah.
like a design challenge, well, okay, that's constrained problem, whereas getting people to work together, coaching somebody up maybe beyond their experience or capability is not a constrained problem.
Let's see. Frustrating. Doing as much as you can and seeing something totally fail. That to me is the most because I've worked on, for example, Battlefield Mobile. We worked really hard on that game, a bunch of people for many years. And sure, we got paid. Like that's cool. But the game never shipped. And I think that's really frustrating. Like that feeling of like, and that's happened. I don't know a single developer that hasn't happened to. Like I don't know how many games you've worked on where you had to just say, yeah, sorry. And you've actually had to cancel games, right? When you're at Disney, did you cancel any games?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, and at wide load, games would get canceled.
I don't know that we canceled any games but I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a very frustrating,
Yeah.
especially when you're creating characters and they're coming to life and you're like making their world and there's like music and then like the game starts to feel like a place and then it's like see you later alligator boom it's just like like
Well,
nuke from
if
space.
you zoom out, to the bigger context, sometimes the end result of change like that is good.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, we have the podcast now. I'm not talking about, yeah, come on.
Yeah.
Come
I know
on,
what you mean.
Alex.
Okay.
But it's frustrating, you know,
Yes.
especially when
Um
you ship it and it's bad. I worked on my first game I ever worked on, got a I think I got 1 star out of 10 in Game Informer. In Game Informer.
No, they're tough. They're tough.
It was crazy.
Hey, did you read any good books over break?
No, but you gave me 2. You gave me 2. You gave me assignments. Alex gave me homework.
Well, one of those books I read, one of them I haven't read, that I sent you.
Yeah, it was, The Creativity Inc. and UFO. But no, I did not read any books. I played games. I played F-Zero 99, and I highly recommend it to everyone listening to this podcast. In my
F-Zero
opinion, it
99.
is F-Zero 99 Nintendo Switch game. So I didn't read any books. I was playing that. and Vampire Hunters. Two great games. Vampire Hunters got a BAFTA. Crazy, huh?
Really? I started listening to the Elon Musk biography. I wasn't sure if I wanted to listen to it, and a couple people recommended it.
And you liked it, right? It's a good book.
I'm like halfway through, whatever. Not done with it yet.
I think this year is going to be a very crazy political year in America, the United States specifically. And I think because of that, you're going to see a lot of UFO alien news on the TV. I think that's my
Those
prediction.
things are linked for you.
I think, yeah, I
It
think
is
they're
going to
linked.
be a bonkers political year because there's
Yeah.
an election,
Yeah.
and who knows what the
Well,
heck
this
is
is
going
what
to happen. So
exactly.
you
So
think
this is what
people are going to
happens.
sort of fill the, fill the angst and concern in their head with UFO
No,
fun?
no, no,
Is
no,
that
no, no.
no?
This is
No?
what
How's this work?
during a year like this, for those of you who don't know, in politics, they're very dirty fighters. So the worst stuff about these people, like dirt, comes out in a news story. And what I'm saying is, if you see UFO news, you can bet your bottom dollar there's probably some really dirty, shady news about some political figure that you can go look
In
up on,
there? Okay.
or somewhere else. Like it's like, hey, look over here, look, like look over here, look.
Are you pro or con aliens?
I don't think they're okay. So let me explain it this way. I don't think they're aliens from another planet.
If a news story came out that said that was like irrefutable proof aliens exist, would your reaction be A, oh, that's amazing. I want to see the alien, or B, oh, we're fucked.
I would say they're interdimensional demons. Beware. Interdimensional vampires. Seriously.
Go get your chainsaw and your BFG.
Yeah, no,
we're
you go to church. Like it's about to get crazy. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like there's so much stuff that's real and so much stuff that's fake that if you go down that rabbit hole, you end up in like weird occult, like random stuff. Like it's not,
Yeah.
you don't end up at NASA. You know what I'm saying?
I
Like
mean, I'm
don't
a
end up at,
huge sci-fi fan. I think that the likelihood that there are aliens somewhere out there is one. Like, yes, there's got to be aliens somewhere, but I would much prefer for us to discover them out there than for them to come
them
here.
us.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, I think Stephen Hawking, I think, was the one who was like, "Hey, don't go broadcasting our
Yeah.
location to the aliens. They're
Would
just
you
going to
look
come
at-
here and
would
eat
you-
us."
If there was news footage of one like sitting down in a chair talking to like being interviewed or like introducing themselves, would you watch it? Like I'm at that point. I'm like, would I watch it? I think my brain would break. Like looking at, like we've been kind of trained by watching all this sci-fi stuff. I don't know if I could handle it.
Like it would be like incomprehensible to look at. Like it would break your brain.
I think it would break your brain. I think it would be similar to the stories we've heard of like the Spanish like conquistadors. Is that what they were? The ones that were on the boats? They would like show up like on the shores of like and they'd be like natives. And
Right.
they're like,
And then,
what is this?
yeah.
And they freak out and they start worshiping. I think we would act like that in that same vein.
Well, I would
that same spirit.
imagine that if any alien species came to Earth, their technology would be such that, yeah, it would look like magic to us. We wouldn't
Right.
be. But
Are they from Earth? Are they from space or are they from a dimension? That's the next question. They're starting to say they're not from around here.
I think you should do one more dice roll.
We're going in deep. We
one
should
more
turn
question.
into a conspiracy podcast, Alex. All right. Are we on dice roll?
One more dice roll.
Dice roll and then Q&A, right? It's the last one. And it landed on 12. Look at these rolls. Take breaks. Clear your head.
All right. Well, that's just common sense.
We should just end the podcast right here.
Yeah, right.
That's
There.
not common
We had to
sense.
take a break, people.
That's not common sense.
It's not.
That's not common sense. No, that is a really hard. Being forced to lay in green pastures is hard.
How do you recharge? How do you take a break? Like, or how do you know when you need to?
I think it changes it changes seasonally for me. Um, Lately my breaks have been I go for a walk, so exercise. So there's two kinds of breaks. There's like your body needs a break from sitting and not working to like being active. So then I take a break, a physical break where I go and I work out, like I'll go walk. Um, and and then the other one is like a brain break where I don't watch any news. I don't listen to anything that is any kind of commentary, like like a game review or anything like that. Like I won't watch anything that's opinionated, and I'll just play a video game and I'll let myself be there. Like I'll have the music on of the game. I'll like just do that. And then of course being with the family with no screens. So that's how I'm taking breaks. So no screens with the family, video game, or go for a walk. What about yourself?
I think there's two kinds of breaks. Also, one I would characterize as the therapeutic break, which for me is running and running or you know being active, whatever. That's I think probably what my number one or what my maybe one of my top priorities. Like I will plan out like what day I'm gonna go for a run or go to the gym, and I'll prioritize that. So I will schedule meetings around that, or make sure that like if I am supposed to drive one of the kids to school and I can't because of that, Laura will help and take one of the kids to school or something like that. For me, that's super important because it just gives me private alone time in my own head. And that's therapeutic for me. And then the other is just like actually getting out of context for some extended period of time. Like we do a family trip in the spring. We were in Chicago for the holidays for 2 weeks. Those are kind of resets for me. I'll tell you what happened though. The last did I tell you? I think I told you the spring break last year. We went and did our family trip, and the very first day, 2 things happened. One, Scopely got bought for like $6 billion or whatever, and I couldn't avoid that news. It like a bunch of people probably mentioned it or something. And then the second thing is the hotel we stayed at was hosting Valve's
Yeah, I remember you telling me
annual
that.
vacation. So that one I didn't get quite the solid break I usually get, but I do both those things. I think they're important.
No phones, man. Like do you do that ever? Like disconnect from the take your watch off? Like I have found that leaving the house completely disconnected for 3 hours or so. I don't know, man. It's good not knowing like having a delay of like this is you know what? It's funny we were talking about this cuz I've been really getting into pistachios lately. And they have 2 on the shelf. They have the ones with the shells, and then they have the fully, like, shelled, like,
Mhm.
deshelled ones, right?
Yep.
And I've been buying the shelled ones because
I
there's
would have guessed.
right? There's a pace. It's like you
It's a
peel
yes,
it,
exactly. Yeah.
and there's something about eating one, chewing on it while you're peeling the other one. It's like the perfect time. It's like the balance is perfect. And I think that's like thoughts, like, "Hey, I wonder who won the Super Bowl." It's like, well, I guess I'll have to wait till I get home, as opposed to knowing right away, like knowing everything right away. It is starting to feel maybe that's not a good thing.
Yeah, I
You
know
know what
what
I
you
mean?
mean. Because you can, you're tempted to, right? Like if you have a,
Exactly.
oh, well, what's the
And I'm
answer to
not
this
present.
question? Yeah, and then all of a sudden you're somewhere else. Yeah. No,
Yeah,
good
you're
point.
not present.
We went camping up at Big Bear last year and we had no cell service.
That must have been nice, right? Terrible at first, nice later, right?
It was nice. It was nice when we got off the mountain and we knew everybody was okay because we could check it.
And all your emails, everything. Yeah.
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 Okay. Last question from yeah. So here we go. This is from Willem. What is your advice for starting and running a successful indie game company?
I can only give guesses.
You've been in it. You've been in it, in the thick of it many times. I have 2 pieces of advice if you want me to
You go
go.
first because you're the CEO guy.
Well, so
What are they?
thing number 1 is have good partners. I would say don't do it alone and do it with people that you like, that you trust, that work hard, that are smart is good, not a requirement, but that you trust.
You know, he's
It
talking
no, for
about me,
real.
guys. You're
No.
like
Uh, that you trust and
we're
that and
partners right now. All right, so
mostly
yeah,
that you
most
trust, you know?
smarts aren't really required.
Smart's good,
All right.
talented is good, those are so that's the first thing is have a great team, just that core nucleus. If it's just you and one other person, have that other person. It's really good to have a partner or 2, you know?
Yeah, doing it alone's
That's
probably
one
rough. Yeah.
thing. The other thing is have a reason. Have a reason for and have it be a good reason. You know, it's like, "Oh, I wanna make a game." Yeah, that's an okay reason. The reason is better if you wanna make a kinda game that nobody's made before, or if you wanna make a game for somebody who people don't really make games for, and you wanna, it's sorta
Mm.
like having an angle or a hook or strategy. Maybe we'll call it a strategy. If you have a reason that's interesting, that makes a lot of things easier and more possible. It's basically like if you were going to go talk to an investor. Well, I'm doing this because, and if that
Yeah,
reason
yeah,
is a
yeah.
good reason, it really helps you stand out. It helps give you focus. It helps give you a razor to make
Purpose.
decisions. A purpose,
Yeah.
exactly, a purpose. Those are my 2 pieces of advice.
This last one, you just reminded me of a little bit of TikTok wisdom, the best kind. Which
Best
there's this
guide.
video where there's I've been seeing these people do these videos where like they'll have like an employee sit down at like a falafel place or something or like a burger place and they'll go, "Okay, so you want to be a businessman? You want to start your own business, huh?" And the employee's like, "Yeah." So then he's like, "Okay, sell me these fries." Kind of like the sell me this pen. And then and then the guy's like, "Are you hungry?" And they're like, "No." Well, then why would I sell you fries? And, and it turns into this like really good thing. But it's true, right? Because if you're creating a product for an audience, or like even if you're like I think that's even if the audience is yourself, because you would play it type thing. I think that's like the lowest denominator, but like the biggest ones like you were mentioning people that like there's we had the Noah. He's doing the games for
Games for health. Yeah. Games for health. Yeah.
yeah, that's a market. Like there is like a hole there that needs to get
Yeah.
filled.
It's a market. It's a
Yeah,
new
yeah,
market and it's a virtuous and interesting
yeah.
where a lot of innovation can happen. And it's, yeah, so that kind of thing. All right. Well, thank you everybody for hanging out with Aaron and I today. This is just a little preview for season 2. We have some fantastic guests lined up for next season. Like we mentioned, John Romero. We also have Scott Miller, the founder of Apogee, in there. Dylan Cuthbert, who cut his teeth making Star Fox. Okay.
That's
All
enough.
right.
Don't tell everybody.
3.
Yes,
Okay.
that's
Just
good.
whet your
Three.
appetite a little
Three's
bit.
good. You just told
Should we edit that out?
everybody. Yeah.
Should we edit that out?
And they're not in the same one.
Yeah.
These are 3.
Okay.
No, you can leave it in. I mean, those are 3 great ones. Speaking of Apogee, I just got their latest game,
And
Wizardom.
thumbs up.
That is pretty cool. Wizardom. It's cool. It's like, yeah, it's in early access. They're still doing stuff, but I can see where it's going, and it has an editor. That's what I was the most excited about.
Right on.
So,
All right. Well, thanks for hanging out.
and the
Quick
Kickstarter.
reminder.
One last reminder.
Yeah. Head
Kickstarter.
on over to our website, thefourthcurtain.com. You'll see the link for the Kickstarter on there. There's some cool stuff on there, unique, fun rewards to go check out. And it'll get you in the entry for the Steam Deck. If you want to enter for the Steam Deck, you don't want to back to Kickstarter,
Yeah, you
just head on
should want
over
the
to
case
our
Steam Deck.
head
It's like I
over
want
to the
Steam-
Discord.
What if
Yeah.
no one enters? Can I have it? Like if nobody enters.
Hey, I still got to set you up with the keyboard, buddy.
Yeah, yeah, I totally forgot about it.
All right. Thanks for listening, everybody, and we shall see you next time.
Excited for season 2. See you, everybody.
Yes.
Thank you for listening to the Fourth Curtain Podcast. The Fourth Curtain is a production of Fourth Curtain Media with community management by Doug Zartman. The podcast is lovingly edited and mastered by Brian Hensley of Noise Floor Studios in Chicago. To get a peek at upcoming episodes or to send in questions to the show, visit our site at thefourthcurtain.com. And be sure to follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks again for listening.